Welcome to the Adirondack Sky Center and Observatory. In the heart of the Adirondack Mountains, Tupper Lake, New York, provides one of the best destinations for stargazing in the East. The combination of low light pollution, low humidity, and high altitude provides nearly ideal conditions for night sky viewing. It is here where the Adirondack Sky Center and Observatory has been laying its roots into the dark side of a hill on Big Wolf Road. This relatively new and growing facility strives to provide quality educational experiences for people of all ages through the science, technology, and history of astronomy. Let's learn more about how they offer a variety of unique public stargazing opportunities, educational lectures, family-friendly events, and more.
Hi, my name is Seth McGowan. I'm the superintendent of schools here in Tupper Lake, but more importantly, for today's purposes, I'm the vice president of the Adirondack Sky Center and Observatory.
And I'm Gib Brown. I'm on the board of trustees at the Adirondack Sky Center, and I'm also former meteorologist for an NBC affiliate in Plattsburgh, Burlington, New York, and I'm also a professor at both Clinton Community College and Plattsburgh State.
And behind us is the site of the future Sky Center, which will house planetarium, classrooms, a full experience, 14,000 square feet, plus additional basement space for storage, a large plane-wave telescope observatory, in addition to the roll-off roof observatory that's already built and in use.
Yeah. We are excited to have you here because we've got a lot to show you, and we're going to walk down the path right now and walk you in what will be the front entrance of the Adirondack Sky Center. Tupper Lake has got another set of distinctions as well. It is the #1 dark sky area in the Adirondacks that's close to a major thoroughfare. So dark skies to astronomers, that's the key to everything, because on a clear night here, you can see just about anything you'd want to see in the sky, and that wilderness here opens up on those clear nights, and many people come here on Friday nights to just look at the sky. We're hoping in some point in the future to have this Adirondack Sky Center open with planetarium, 14,000 square feet of space for educational programs and space for professional astronomers with a major research-grade telescope.
Right, and the Adirondack Park itself is the largest natural
6 million acres.
6 million acre park in the country. So, and Tupper Lake is right in the center of that. We have people that come from New York City, from Boston, from Ohio, and even from Canada down to visit us here because of our dark skies. We're standing at what will be the entrance to the Astro Science Center here. And once we walk in, we'll see eventually the great exhibit hall with all sorts of interactive exhibits for visitors to talk about and interact with. One of the best features of this Astro Science Center is its hands-on nature. We have classrooms with maker spaces where visitors will be able to build telescopes. In our exhibit hall, we'll have a space suit. We'll have a wall where you put a space glove on and try to screw a screw into a wall and simulate what the astronauts would be doing, miles above the Earth.
Yeah, this is going to be an enhancement for all the educational facilities around, not only the very youngest grades, but for the colleges as well. It'll also be a major tourist attraction for people that are really interested in the dark skies of the Adirondacks, and now they'll be able to actually kind of touch the sky through the equipment that we will have here at the Sky Center.
Now we're in front of the proposed exhibit hall, where, as you can see, we'll have a real spacesuit for visitors, a Foucault pendulum, which will swing and show the rotation of the Earth from an above view. We'll also have different exhibits to create an alien. So for example, a visitor might press a button that changes the atmosphere, and another button to show the size of the planet, and another button to show the distance from its star. And then the final button you'd press to create the alien that would be able to live under those conditions.
And this planetarium will have a variety of shows bringing you the latest updates on solar exploration, educational programs on planets, comets, meteors, pretty much any topic you'd ever want to have. You can pick up those shows, and we will be making sure that we kind of rotate the different shows throughout the year so that everybody will be able to see pretty much anything they want in terms of the celestial objects and, of course, the sky itself. So it's going to be a very nice, comfortable planetarium, and it's going to be the modern type. It's not going to be one where you see that great big ant-shaped projector in the center. This one is going to be projected on the outside in terms of the modern technology. So it's going to be a fantastic place to come in and look at the sky on a cold day if you don't want to be outdoors, because everything that you would see in the nighttime sky will be in this planetarium.
You may notice the green stakes around the perimeter of the building. That just shows you a little bit of the size of what 14,000 square feet looks like on this surface. It allows us all sorts of possibilities. Also in this space will be a workshop for telescope repair, because we'll have plenty of equipment both in our roll-off roof observatory and our new, more traditional observatory with a 24-inch plane wave telescope. Certainly there'll need to be some repairs along the lines of our equipment, and that's where we would do that stuff.
We're of course out here in the daylight. We're not here in the dark because you wouldn't be able to see anything, but the bottom line is that Tupper Lake has dark skies, and what that means is we don't have much in the way of light pollution at all. If you go to New York City, where I'm from, I didn't know there were more than 2 or 3 stars, and most of those were bright planets, because the light pollution in New York City was so strong that you couldn't see anything in the sky at all except maybe the moon. But here in the Adirondacks, a couple of things have happened. First of all, we don't have any major networks of cities around us creating light pollution, but the town itself has actually put in downward facing lights, so we illuminate facing downward. That doesn't allow light pollution to disturb the sky above us. Well, quite frankly, as a meteorologist, I've not been to a lot of sky centers. I mean, they're around. They have some major ones, and major radio telescopes and all kinds of optical telescopes around the country. But this is going to be a little bit of everything. We're going to be incorporating educational facilities, an attraction for tourism, as well as an area for professional astronomers to all get together and all work. So it'd be like a one-stop shopping when it comes to basically the sky.
Additionally, this Astro Science Center will be unique in one very significant way. The museum property in the Astro Science Center, along with real-life observing in our observatories, both in the roll-off roof observatory and the planned traditional observatory with the plane wave telescope. Most science centers that you might visit are one or the other. This has the unique capacity to do both, and instruction during the day or visitation, learning about the night sky, and then actually that same day on that same property going out with a telescope and viewing it. Now we can take a look at what's already built here and has been here for a few years. That is the first phase of this three-phase project, and that is the roll-off roof observatory. Now, in addition to that, part of the project here is a more classical observatory just outside of the building of the Astro Science Center with that large 24-inch plane wave telescope. So let's go up and take a look at the existing roll-off roof observatory.
Yeah, this has been wildly popular on Friday nights during the summertime. Hundreds and hundreds of people have gone through this area.
Now, what's different about the roll-off roof observatory than a traditional observatory is in a traditional observatory, there's one telescope with a domed roof that spins with the telescope as the night sky changes. In the roll-off roof observatory, we can mount have four permanently mounted telescopes that can look anywhere in the sky at any time. So now that the roof is off, you can see that we have a number of telescopes right within the concrete floor on permanently mounted piers. And that means that we can set them up once and leave them there. And when we come up for observing, people come in here and we have the various telescopes pointed at an object in the sky, and as I said earlier, one of them could be pointed at one object and another could be pointed at a different object. Or sometimes it's really cool to point all of them at the same object and see what it looks like between a refractor telescope like this one versus a reflecting telescope like this one. People get the experience of seeing them through two different types of telescopes. You can also see along the wall that we have a number of telescopes that we actually pick up and move right into the field on the other side of this building. And that allows people, amateur astronomers, to practice their skills and see things. Plus, we get a whole lot more people viewing. There are nights in the summertime when it's clear where we have 200 people coming through here. And it's very exciting, especially when when a young child or somebody looks at Saturn for the first time. There's always that moment of pure elation. There is a whole section of astronomy on solar observing. And of course, that has to be done with special filters. And I want to just say for the record, nobody should ever look directly at the sun, whether through a telescope, binoculars, or even the naked eye. But there are special filters that go on the telescopes where you can see some of the detail of the solar flares and sunspots. It's very exciting.
Beth just said, you go out there and you buy these cheap $100 telescopes and they have solar filters in them. The recommendation that we have about those solar filters, just throw them away. One time you look at the sun, what it does is it heats up the lens cracks inside, you're not able to see that, and then light from the sun gets through that filter, and the result is blindness or impairment of your eyes. So these are the professional devices here. These are the ones with the true solar filters, and this is the safest way to view the sun. Well, one of the things about looking at the sky that's so amazing, you have to understand that we are the sky, or at least part of us are the sky. You see, the stuff that we're made out of, as Cosmos said, Carl Sagan said in Cosmos, we are literally star stuff that's come to consciousness. All the materials that are in our bodies were made in the stars. And so we are, again, part of the universe in that sense. So we're kind of looking at our creation up there because again we've all kind of come from the Big Bang and the billions of years that the sky has been in existence, the cosmos has been in existence. We've seen all these changes and we've gone from stars and planet fields, and we have comets, we have meteors, we have asteroids, we have all kinds of stuff out there. And Seth alluded a few minutes ago that it's the greatest wilderness, and it still is, because we're just now learning what's out there, and we're actually learning how to learn what's out there too, because of new technologies that we're only now starting to sample. So the sky is just an amazing place. And again, a wilderness for sure, but the fact is that we're going to be walking on some of these objects out there, for example, Mars, fairly soon. We've had 12 people walk on the moon. We'll probably be going back there pretty soon as well. But Mars is going to be the ultimate goal for people in at least my lifetime. And you'll probably see people walking on whatever.
I hope maybe I'll be one of them.
Yeah.
The thing that I think stops people's hearts sometime is seeing one of our planets like Saturn for the very first time. And we talk about the rings of Saturn. And when you look through a powerful telescope and you see those rings and you can see the separation between the planet and the rings and the Cassini division, and you see the details of Saturn, people are blown away by that. The other thing I think that is so fascinating to people and that gets them into this field, and frankly it's one of the things that brought me into astronomy myself, was the humility of it, the expanse of the universe. We think in terms of our own planet or the town of Tupper Lake, the Adirondack Park, New York State, United States, but when you start talking on a scale of the universe, our minds are not equipped to handle that kind of size. So when we're looking at a star that's 1,000 light years away, what that means is we're looking at light that left that planet 1,000 years ago and traveling at the speed of light, which is 186,000 miles per second. Traveling at that speed has taken that star's light 1,000 years to get to us, and we're looking basically back in time. All right, so let's show you some of the toys that we have here that we play with at the Roll-Off Roof Observatory. And I think it's important to mention that all of the telescopes, with the exception of one, were donations. And that is sort of emblematic of the generosity that people show towards astronomy and the excitement around astronomy that these pieces of equipment exist out there. So this was one of our first pieces of equipment. This is a reflecting telescope, which means that it uses mirrors inside to collect the light, and the bigger the mirror, the more light it collects. And when people come to this telescope and we're looking at Saturn or Jupiter, and you can actually see the moons through it, they really have that moment where you can almost feel their heartbeat accelerate a little bit. So this is one of our permanently mounted telescopes here. And it is a great piece of equipment. This is not something that you would necessarily have in your own living room. Well, so the mount holds the telescope to the pier, and the pier is bolted to a cylinder that goes deep into the ground. The important thing about astronomy is that you want to be aligned with certain object in the sky, one of them being Polaris. So each of the telescopes that's on a mount here has to be on a pillar of cement that is buried deep in the ground. And the reason we do that, of course, is because frost and other things that happen underneath the ground over the course of the year tend to shift things. And if we were to just put this on the ground, it may tilt one way or the other over the course of the winter and back into the summer. But with it being buried so far below the frost line, the pier that it's on never moves. And the column of cement, and then the pier that it's on, and the telescope. So most of the telescopes, or all of them in this room, are on permanently mounted.
If a passing truck goes by,
right,
the vibrations.
Right, yeah, a helicopter or anything, we can avoid the vibration that you might feel in the ground that seems so insignificant, but if you have a camera attached to it and you're doing a 5-minute exposure on a distant object, that little vibration would ruin an image that you were collecting. So that's a reflector. Actually, 3 of the 4 telescopes in this room are reflector telescopes. Looks like a smaller telescope over here is our refractor, and that uses lenses to collect light at a certain focal point. And this telescope is very powerful, and the optics, the glass that makes up the lenses in it, is so good that when you look through it, things are so unbelievably clear and bright. This is a little bit different in that the field of view is wider. So some objects in the sky are much bigger than people imagine them to be. Andromeda, for example, the closest galaxy to our Milky Way. If we were to look through one of the larger telescopes or image through one of the larger telescopes with a much narrower field of view, we wouldn't actually see the entire Andromeda. The edges and the spirals on the sides would be out of the field of view. With a telescope like this, the field of view is wider, so you would see all of Andromeda through this telescope. And
Well, Seth just said that, we've got a lot of telescopes here. You might ask, why would anybody want anything more? Well, there's a lot more to astronomy, and there are different types of telescopes. We're hoping for a research-grade telescope that'll surpass everything you can see in this room, so that not only will the average person be able to look through the scope, but researchers will be able to search out things like comets and asteroids that haven't even been classified yet. They'll study their orbits and perhaps name one after the Adirondack Sky Center, who knows? But the sky is alive with things out there that have yet to be discovered, and with better telescopes, the possibility of discovering them will be much greater.
Okay. So we just came from the observatory and the future site of the Astro Science Center. And we've come to our temporary location, which is our office, gift shop, and temporary classroom. So we can take you through that.
Yep, it's right here on High Street in Tupper Lake right now. So let's go take a look and see what we have here, the goodies.
Entrance might be.
Right over here is conceptualized image of what the Sky Center is going to be. And this is the Astro Science Center. And this is the research-grade telescope right over here. This is the way our architect has envisioned this whole project. But this building here will be 1,400 square feet. It's going to be 14,000 square feet with an extra 3,000 square feet down in the basement. And that's where we'll have supplies down there, plus the Foucault pendulum will be swinging down in the basin of this building. So it's quite a project, and we are right now trying to get it off the ground. We're trying to get it moving. We've got some contributions right now. We've got some grant money, but the entire program here is going to cost in excess of about $15 million. And as we go to that our webpage, there's a great place in there for you to get involved with this program, the new program where we're going to try to build the Astro Science Center. We have a donations page in there, and we are looking for help with this project. We have a matching grant right now going on, and we're about 61% from fulfilling that one. And donations, contributions are really, really welcome at this stage of the game. We really could use the help from pretty much anyone out. Okay, looking at the orrery, this planet, the closest to the sun, it's the fastest moving planet, it's the swiftest planet. That is Mercury. Mercury was the messenger, of course, from Greek gods. This is Venus. It's encased in clouds. We can't see its surface from the Earth. We've landed on it a couple of times, and we found out that it's very, very hot, some 700 degrees. And it has basically an acid rain, which consists of something like battery acid. With those 700-mile-an-hour winds, you wouldn't want a vacation there. Of course, this is the big blue marble. It's actually little blue marble. Mars out here, this is where we're going to be exploring next. We have probes on there right now. We have lots of satellites going around Mars, and in probably the next 10 years, people may land on Mars. So that's pretty cool. And then you've got, of course, big old Jupiter, which in itself is almost like a star itself. It gives off more heat than it gets from the sun because of the process of radioactive fusion taking place on Jupiter. So it's not hot enough to glow, but it's hot enough to give off infrared energy. Of course, this one with the rings, that's of course Saturn, and these two planets themselves have over 100 moons going around them. And some of those moons are quite large, and some of them are exciting because they contain water, they have ice, they have primitive atmospheres and things like that. So these are going to be exciting places in the future. And then we have Uranus. Okay, you got to pronounce that carefully. And this one, again, is another large ice kind of a planet. And out here is Neptune. And this planet is kind of intriguing as well. These are both ice balls. They're so far from the sun that they don't capture a lot of energy from it. And of course, this is wayward Pluto, which doesn't orbit correctly and has a lot of other properties that really classify it in a special category as a dwarf planet. And there are others out there that we've found as well. So that's the mistake in the story, but the rest of it is pretty cool.
Whether you're a novice to astronomy, whether you're an expert in astronomy, whether you've never looked through a telescope or even thought about the wilderness above before, I think the Adirondack Sky Center is a place that you'll be able to come and get more from the universe than you ever thought possible.
Yeah, come and visit us. Come in and join some of our start parties on Friday night in our facility at Little Wolf Pond. Join us here at our High Street office and classroom facility. But again, come up and visit us and, of course, bring some donations.
Well, welcome back. I'm still trying to bake the muffins. But finally, I think we're finished. I hope you enjoyed our show today. If you would like to make an order or donate muffins to charity, then please go to the website listed below. With every muffin order, we donate muffins to the charity of your choice. I call it giving your dough to charity. I also encourage you to donate directly to the featured charity today by going directly to our website and getting their information. Thank you very much for watching, and keep on dancing through life by giving to others through love. Let me finish baking these muffins, and see you next time.